الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, those who are listening online. Okay, just read that video voice down. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, today Sidra Institute will be launching its first physical copy of Qasas Al-Nabiyīn Part 1. This is a book which was authored by Sheikh Abul Hasan Ali Al-Nadwi rahmatullah alayh for the purpose of children to learn Arabic and become acquainted with the Arabic language. And it consists of stories of the prophets. Over time, this has been introduced into madaris worldwide and it's studied by many students. And it's also a book in which people, well, students, they implement what they learn in Sarf and Nah in these books. So inshallah, today we will be discussing about the book inshallah and what it consists of. So I'll be sharing my screen in a short while. And before I do, just want to make the viewers aware that this book is a physical book. It's A5 size and it's available to purchase. And there's a link in the description, inshallah. You should find it in the description or in the comments. And there's a link and you can purchase the book, inshallah. The book is also in stock as well. So you can place your orders as soon as well. So inshallah, we don't want to take too long because the Tarawih prayers are coming up as well. So we'll go straight into what the book is about. And I'm sharing my screen. So let's continue. Okay. So what is the extra features that have been added into this book, Qasas Al-Nabiyīn? So first and foremost is the complete text of Qasas Al-Nabiyīn, part 1 we are talking about, does not have any vowel markings. When we say vowel markings, that's no dhamma, fatha, kasra, etc. And we'll speak inshallah later on a bit about why there's no vowels. Number 2, there's a detailed vocabulary section. So for students who want to know the meaning of words, so for example, what does asna mean, what does kasara mean, what does ba'i mean, etc. There's a detailed vocabulary section for each story, and we'll delve into that a bit more further on. What do we mean by a detailed account of the vocabulary? And also we have a comprehensive grammatical analysis. And this is, inshallah, something that will all piece together to make us understand how we read the text correctly. Okay, so first we need to know the vocab, we need to know how to pronounce the word, and then the comprehensive grammatical analysis will help us apply the right vowel markings at the end of each word. So whether it's going to have a dhamma, fatha, kasra. So for this, each story consists of a comprehensive grammatical analysis of each word and sentence. So there's a complete breakdown of every word. What is the last vowel going to be on the end of every word? There's also syntactical aspects that we're talking about now, okay, taken from numerous grammar books. So what in this book you will find is you won't just have the grammatical aspects explained, you'll also be exposed to many aspects of Nah and grammar that are found in books. So for example, sometimes we see that the mubtada is delayed. So when we see a jumla ismiya, we're always looking for mubtada at the beginning. We might not find it at the beginning. We might find a prepositional phrase at the beginning. For example, fiddari zaydun. So, what are those situations where you have to, delay the mubtada? So sometimes, there's situations where mubtada is delayed. So these kind of aspects are brought into the book as well. So it brings nahw into kind of life, and it gives some kind of perspective to it when you are reading this book as well. Okay, so we got rhetorical aspects as well, balagha. So where need be, the points of balagha are mentioned, and this is for each story. So we're not talking about after two or three or a chapter, syntactical aspects are mentioned or rhetorical points. It's after every single story, alhamdulillah. So for every story, the complete text is unvoweled. There's a detailed vocabulary for each story, comprehensive grammatical analysis for each story as well, syntactical aspects drawn from various grammar books also for each story, and rhetorical aspects. And also, on the previous point, there's also beneficial points taken from various Quranic exegeses. So we're talking about Safatul Tafasir, At-Tahrir wa Tanwir by Ibn Ashur. We're talking about I'rab al-Quran. We are talking about At-Tafsir al-Munir, At-Tafsir al-Kabir. So many Quranic exegeses where there is a possibility and there's room to add these insights from these Quranic exegeses. These have also been inserted and applied in the book as well. So the purpose is so one can have some kind of relationship with the tafasir whilst studying Qasas Al-Nabiyīn. There's also abbreviations from the Hans Wehr dictionary. The reason why I chose the Hans Wehr dictionary is because a popular dictionary, and it actually contextualizes the words. So simple thing like sajada yasjudu, it don't just say it means to prostrate. It will tell you that this verb is used with the preposition lam. So for example, if I say I prostrate to Allah, I won't say asjudu Allah. I'll say asjudu lillahi. So Hans Wehr kind of contextualizes the verbs. So it tells you exactly how these verbs are used, and sometimes the meaning of the verbs can change based on surrounding words. So it depends if what preposition comes after the verb, the meaning can change as well. So for example, like the word raghiba means to desire, but when it's followed by the preposition an, then it means to detest and to turn away, to abandon. There's also terminologies of verb patterns. This is where the sarf part comes into it. So we know sarf is a lot got to do with different forms of verbs, mainly verbs, and it's rich with its paradigms. So we're talking about the past tense, present tense, and then we have different kind of verb patterns as well. So we have mithal, ajwaf, naqis. When there's weak letters involved, the pattern kind of becomes defected. So we got qala yaqulu, it was qawala yaqulu. So we don't go into the surf is not explained, but the overall what the bigger picture is brought in a nutshell, and you can look at these concepts of surf at a glance. So it's not overwhelming. So inshallah we'll cover those on the slides. And also 22 verb patterns. So we'll start from nasara and its subcategories. So you got qala yaqulu, you got radda yaruddu, etc. You got daraba yadribu, hasiba yahsibu, samia yasma'u. All the verb patterns and its subcategories. When we say subcategories, we're saying mithal, ajwaf, naqis, mudha'af, lafif, maqroon, mafruq, etc. Totaling to 78 verb patterns at a glance. So it's over 2 pages, so it's not overwhelming. So you can clearly see in front of you the bigger picture rather than turning pages upon pages and you don't see the bigger picture. Okay. And then you got a diacritical table. This is where, because the text in Qasas Al-Nabiyīn in this print and is going to be unvoweled, you need the help of grammar to understand what is going to be the correct diacritical markings, in terms of dhamma, fatha, kasra. So that's why at the beginning of the book there are diacritical tables to aid one to understand what are the correct diacritical markings going to be at the end of each word, depending on the position of that word in a sentence. So whether it's marfu, mansub, or majroor. Okay, so I do believe this book will be an absolute treat for students of knowledge, and you can pick this book up inshallah, and you'll straight away see the bigger picture of the concepts of grammar, of sarf, and even vocabulary, etc. The Roman numerals as well in the Hans Wehr dictionary. Sometimes we see number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 after verbs. What does all this mean? It's all broken down and it's all at a glance as well. Okay, so talking about Hans Wehr dictionary, we did do a complete course on this as well, so that's available on the website. So the website's on the left hand side, www.sidrainstitute.com. If you go on there, there's quite a few courses available. This one was absolutely free, so it was about 7-8 lessons. That's 7 hours of content, so you can register on the website and you'll have a dashboard and everything will be free there. Okay, now how to use this book. Okay, so how we're going to use this book. Okay, so on the right hand side, this is how the book is going to look when you open it. It's a physical copy. This is not an ebook, it's an actual physical copy. So the unvoweled text we can see on the right hand side. Okay, so let me see if I can get my cursor laser there. So on the right hand side, we have the unvoweled text. Okay, so now students are going to seem to struggle to read this without any vowel markings. So this is the whole point. You have to struggle to progress. If you don't struggle, then you won't see, progress. So initially, when a student picks up this book, there's no vowel markings. Yes, we understand. So foundation level, if somebody is a beginner and he's opened up this book, okay, so what's expected? Read the text. So you're going to read the text, okay? You're going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. No one's perfect, okay? There's so many PowerPoints I've done, and then there's typo errors. We're human beings. خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is perfect, okay? Allah is subhan. So read the text. So a beginner will read the text and mark only the essential vowels in pencil. So if a beginner is reading this text, okay, they'll only mark where need be. So most probably they're going to say this word is qabl, okay? Is this going to be qablu, la, oli? Okay, put a fatha there. What we don't want to do is we don't want to become accustomed to writing every single vowel marking, because this ruins progress. Okay, so we know through the vocab, at the same time we're learning the words. Okay, so for beginners, okay, what you want to do is become familiar with the verb patterns from the beginning and just know the simple meaning of words. So example, kasara yaksiru, kasra means to break. Sanamun, asnam is idol, and then so on and so forth. Yawmun, ayyam means day. Now when you learn the words, you've actually learned probably 70% of how to read these words. The only thing that's remaining is the ending of the word. Are we going to say ayyamun, ayyamin, ayyaman? What's it going to be? So the vocab, if somebody is a beginner, they would learn the vocab. The vocab has covered 70% of the vowel markings. The 30% or probably even 80%. So the next 20% is where you're going to just write in pencil. The reason why I say in pencil is so you can rub it off for later on. Later on, you can revisit the book and try to read without the vowel markings. So probably ayyam, you might want to write a 2 zabar here, kathiratin 2 zabar at the end. The rest of the word, it becomes easy, but through the vocab, you've learned how to pronounce that word. Okay? Now look, for example, kathiratun, kathirat. Now translate text into English with the help of the vocabulary provided. Now, because there's a detailed vocabulary, what we just want to do is want to know, okay, the meaning of the words. Okay, so for example, we got kasara, which means broke. So man means who, kasara means broke. So it's a past tense verb. Al-asnam, we can see from the vocab, means idols. So who broke the idols? So you can kind of like make sense of the translation yourself because the vocabulary is provided. Also commit verb patterns to memory. The more verb patterns you memorize, the more quicker you'll become familiar with the verb patterns. What you don't want to do is just look and glance at the verb and not actually commit it to memory, because memorizing is actually a powerful way of retaining information. Okay. Another feature here is in the vocabularies right at the beginning of here in the book you will see al-huruf al-asliya, the root letters. Now when we check in the dictionary for words, we can't check words at random. We have to identify the root letters. So the root letters of every single word is provided in this small section here. Okay, so for example, yasjuduna, it'll say sin, jim, and dal. Ya'budu, ain, ba, and dal. So get used to the root letters. Why? Because if you want to check up this word and see does it hold a different meaning, you can also check that up as well. Okay, recognize the correct usage of verbs. Another key feature in this book is to identify not just the meaning of the verb, but how it's used. So for example, kasara, okay, here it means to break. And you can see it says there's a ha here, butterfly ha, and it means something. Now, even this butterfly ha and the other round ha is explained in the abbreviations, which is at the beginning of the book, you'll find it. So it refers to irrational things. So kasara, used with a butterfly ha, i.e. irrational entities, means to break something. What that ha means is it's used direct object. So you don't need an intervention of a preposition. So when you say man kasara al-asnama, who broke the idols, that ha signifies that it's going to be maf'ul bihi straight up. It's going to be a direct object. There's no reason for an intervention of a harf jar. Whereas like in sajada, we can see if you want to bring the maf'ul basically bihi, I prostrate to Allah. In English, the object here we could say is ismul jalala, but in Arabic we can't bring the maf'ul bihi straight away. We have to have the intervention of the lam. So this is what we mean by recognizing the correct usage of the verbs. So in the story we see wakana azaru yasjudu li hadhihi al-asnami. It don't say wakana azaru yasjudu hadhihi al-asnam, and that's reflected in the vocab as well. Because if you can see on the left hand side, it says to prostrate oneself. Lam means before. So lam is used. Whereas if you look at abada, the ha is mentioned, i.e. direct object. So we can see here وَكَانَ آزَرُ يَعْبُدُ هَذِهِ الْأَصْنَامَ. So the lam, there's no intervention because abada ya'budu is used with a direct object, and the ha is used to signify that. So our foundation level, this book will work okay, good, I believe, if you just focus on this. Okay, so try to read as much of the text without the help of any diacritical marking, writing the full diacritical markings, using the vocab to help you translate. Okay, now the next level is intermediate level. It can serve as a good purpose, a book for those who now want to start implementing the grammar into Qasas Al-Nabiyīn. So intermediate level, how would this work? Read the text without relying on any vowel markings. So now what you want to do is at this stage, probably this is your second year of study, you're revisiting Qasas Al-Nabiyīn. Okay, now you want to implement the grammar. So now how are you going to do it? So the good news is whatever material is required for the students to understand how the i'rab works is provided in the book. Because on the left hand side there's diacritical table for declinable nouns, because we know there's only two things that change the Arabic language: ismun mu'rabun and fi'lun mudari'un. And the diacritical table for both are provided in the book. So once you've got a bit of understanding of grammar, then you can refer back to this diacritical table. Okay, and this will help you understand, okay, the correct vowel markings. Okay, so you need to know the moods as well. Marfu'at, mansubat, majrurat. That is also provided in the book as well at the beginning, with the help of the diacritical table. If that still becomes a bit of a struggle, don't worry about it, because every single story there's actually a complete breakdown of the i'rab. Total breakdown of every single word. So every word is highlighted in red. So qab. So here I know it's small, okay, but in the book it'll be visible. This is just a screenshot I've taken and I've added on. So here, look, qabla maf'ul fi, dharf zaman. So it's adverb of time. Mansubun bil fathati. It's mansub with a fatha. So that's why we're going to say qabla. Okay, and it's muta'alliq bi khabari kana al mahdhuf. The khabar of kana, which is mahzuf, which is mawjudan, okay, which is explained later on, is connected to that, because dhuruf are also connected, like prepositional phrase are connected to verbs or nouns that have the meaning of verbs like ismul fa'il, ismul maf'ul, etc. Okay, wa huwa mudafun. So up until there, we know qabla is mansoob with a fatha and it's mudaf, so it's going to have a single vowel, so qabla. Now look at the next word. It's probably small, but you can, when you get your physical copy, inshallah, you'll be able to see. So ayyam mudaf ilay majroor bil kasra. That's all we need to know. We don't need to go into too much complexities of grammar. Ayyam is mudaf ilay because qabla works with idafa. Okay, is mudaf ilay is in the state of jar because mudaf ilay explains the state of jar, and it's majroor with a kasra. So this is telling us exactly what we're going to read. Ayyamin, and why? Because mudaf ilay. Next word, kathiratin. Kathiratin, are we going to say kathiratun, kathiratan, kathiratin? What we're going to read? Na'atun li ayyam. It's the na'at of ayyam majroorun bil kasra. That's all we need to know. It's the na'at of ayyam, and nat follows man'ut in i'rab, so it's going to be majroor with a kasra. So we're going to read kathiratin. So it's very, very simple. So if we find the diacritical tables, okay, we're not up to that level yet, don't worry about it. You can use the i'rab which is provided, and that will help you come to the conclusion of what are the right diacritical markings that should be applied. Okay. Balagha points. Okay, just give me 1 second. I think we've got some intruders. Okay. 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 Can you keep your voice down, please? Okay. Just sit here. Sit with me. Come on. Okay. So how to use high level? When we move on to the high level, we're talking about balagha. Okay. So points of balagha are mentioned in the book as well. So for example, one rhetorical mode of discourse is al-itnab, where we prolong the sentence. Now, prolonging a sentence, it comes with a rhetorical benefit. Okay, so we got al-itnab here taking place, which is known as verbosity in Arabic rhetoric. So why is kathiratin repeated? Okay, ziyadatun fi dalalati ala bu'd zaman, to indicate a very far distant long period of what time. And even itnab is mentioned. What is an itnab? And yazid al-lafz ala al-ma'na li fa'ida. So simple things of balagha are what mentioned. Okay. So also in the fawaid, the fa'ida, this is where the syntactical aspects are mentioned for additional information. So for example, we come across the word kana, we know that we hear that it's an incomplete verb. So there's some kind of deficiency in this verb. So that's why it's known as fi'lun naqis. But why do we call it naqis? So there's like kind of a grammatical, insight to this. سميت ناقصة لأنها لا يتم بها مع مرفوعها كلام تام. Okay, you can't have a complete sentence. Okay, just with the marfu. Okay, so you need the mansoob. You need the khabar of the kana. So that's where the deficiency is, because normal verbs you can just have the fa'il marfu and it become a complete sentence. So this is like a kind of like more of an insight into the grammatical aspects, and also from the tafsir kitabs as well. For example, Azar, ذهب المفسرون إلى أن آزر عم إبراهيم وليس أباه، وقال آخرون إنه اسم للصنم، والصحيح كما قال المحققون من المفسرين أنه اسم لوالد إبراهيم، وقد دل على ذلك الكتاب والسنة. So who was Azar? So through the tafsir kitabs, like here it's mentioned Safat Tafasir with reference, explaining who Azar was. Some people say it was his uncle, it wasn't his father, and some say it was the name of an idol. But the more correct opinion is that the researchers muhakkikun from the experts in Quranic exegesis, they say it was the name of his father. So this is for each story you will find this. So you'll find a detailed vocabulary, full i'rab, okay, grammatical breakdown, diacritical breakdown for each word and sentence. Then you have the balagha aspects, and then you have syntactical points and profound insights from Quranic exegesis. Okay, and this is just part one, but inshallah the intention is to, if part one is a success, inshallah to move on to part two, part three, part four, and inshallah part 5 as well. Okay, so we've spoke about the book and what it contains. Okay, so why did I choose to, why was this method adopted? On the right hand side, this is how we find normally the books in of Qasas Al-Nabiyīn with all the vowel markings. So this is a typical scenario in lesson. Okay, so teachers will teach, and then you want to implement the grammar in Qasas Al-Nabiyīn. So you fire a question at a student and you say, okay, why does ism have a dhamma? In وَكَانَ اسْمُ هَذَا الرَّجُلِ آزَرَ, why does the word ism have a dhamma? And typically a student will probably give an answer, I think it's a fa'il, because they know that fa'il. ضرب زيد, Zaid hit, and Amran hit Amr. Okay, so that's the example we're used to. Fa'il has, it's marfu, it has a dhamma. Okay, and that's the typical answer we'll probably get. Okay, then we'll see, okay, الرجل has got a kasra. وكان اسم هذا الرجل. Why is الرجل with a kasra? Okay, so the answer will be, it seems like it's mudhaf ilay, because the example they know is Kitabu Zaydin, Zayd's book. So they'll say that is. Why is probably got a kasra. Okay, we got Azar. Why does Azar have a fatha? And they know that Zayd hit Amr, Daraba Zaydun Amran. So Amran had a fatha because maful bihi. Probably Azar is maful bihi as well. Okay, so they'll say, yeah, it's maful bihi. And sometimes they'll say, is it maful bihi? So they'll reverse the question on the teacher. So that happens a lot as well. Okay, this is a good response some students give. It's in the book like that. Okay, so I've heard those responses as well. So why has Azar got a fatha? It's in the book like that. Okay, so that's not implementing grammar, is it? And sometimes we have this one. This is the favorite one. Okay, students' favorite one. It sounds right. So subhanallah, you've mastered the Arabic. Azar with a fatha sounds right. Okay, but you can't back it up with grammar. Okay, so this is the typical scenario. So ismu don't have a dhamma because it's fine. It's the ism of kana. It's marfu. Ar-rajul is not mudhaf ilayh. Hadha is the mudhaf ilayh. Ar-rajul is the badal of hadha, and hadha is fi mahalli jar because mudhaf ilayh, and ar-rajul will follow the i'rab of hadha. So it's the badal of hadha. That's why it's with a kasra. And azara is not maful bi, it's the khabar of kana. So it's totally, the students aren't challenged when it comes to vowel markings and explaining why, when it comes to implementing the grammar. Now, when you see this, when a student sees this, he's going to scratch his head, and it's good. They need to scratch their heads, okay? Otherwise, everything laid on a plate is not progressive. So when they see this now the question is going to change. The teacher is not going to say, why has ismu got a dhamma fatha kasra? It's going to make the student think, what would you apply on the word ism? Now it's a different ball game, it's a different challenge, it's a different question. This is where the students will be what challenged. Now the good news is the vocabulary section, everything in red is got to do with the vocab. Okay, so for example, al-asnam, al-rajul, mashhur, everything in red is got to do with the vocab. So when you are learning the vocab, you've learned everything in the red. Okay, and everything in the green is got to do with the i'rab, and that is also explained in the book. So when you put these two things together, this is when it'll click, and you'll be able to read the correct vowel markings. That's why this approach has been adopted in the book, without any vowel markings, and to help implement the grammar in Qasas Al-Nabiyīn. Okay, now why i'rab? Many people have asked as well, why not tarkib? Okay, I'm a fan of both. Okay, tarkib and i'rab, but I find i'rab more effective in explaining the ibarat, how you're going to read it, the text. I'll give you a simple example. Ja al-Muslimu, simple tarkib would be ja is fail, al-Muslimu is fine, it becomes jumla failiya. You can add khabriya if you want. Same thing with ja al-Muslimani. Fail fine equals jumla failiya. Ja al-Muslimuna, fail fine equals jumla failiya. There's nothing explaining the diacritical markings of the vowels here. Tarkib in all three, it's the same. However, when you look at i'rab, جاء is فعل ماض مبني على الفتح. It's mabni with the fath because fi'l madhi don't change. It's static. It's remains the same. It's built upon fath. So it's going to be ja. Al-Muslim, it's fa'il marfu with a dhamma. So that's why it's al-Muslimu. Same thing with al-Musliman, but when we look at al-Musliman, it's fa'il marfu bil alif. Why with the alif? Because it's muthanna, it's dual. I'rab will explain why you saying muslimani not muslimaini. Why you saying al-Muslimu not al-Muslima. And look at ja al-Muslimuna. Because it's jam'un mudhakkarun salimun, it's going to be marfu with a waw. So i'rab explains more than tarkib. That's why preference was given to i'rab over tarkib. Not to undermine tarkib. Tarkib is very important as well. Okay, so this is probably answers the question why i'rab. Okay. Now this is some of the things you'll find in the book. Abbreviations in the Hans Wehr dictionary. So the Roman numerals, the AIU concept. In the book, the abbreviation, so Nun stands for Nasara Yansuru all the way to Hasiba Yahsibu. Okay. And now this is terminology of verb patterns. Okay, so as-sahih abada, you can work it out. Fa'ala abada. Okay, so sahih is when there's no harfa illa. If it's in the fa kalima, harfa illa, it's known as mithal. If it's in the ain kalima, it's known as ajwaf, like kana. And if it's in the lam kalima, harfa illa, it's known as naqis, so raja. So it's kind of broken down. And it's explained here as well at the bottom what all these terminologies mean. Al-lafif, al-maqroon, al-lafif, al-mafruq, etc. So it's all at a glance. Then we have the verb patterns. So starting from nasara. Once you've understood what sahih, mithal, adwaf, naqis, mahmuz, and mudaf means, then you go into at a glance each verb pattern. So nasara has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 verb patterns according to it having weak letters or two letters of the same type, etc. So the complete breakdown, and even here taf'il, it's marked by the Roman numerals again in the Hans Wehr dictionary. So you got the verb patterns. So if'al, tafa'ul, tafa'ul, infial, the subcategories as well. Okay. So this is the diacritical table. So if you've got a word which is mufrad, munsif, sahih, it's stated raf ila dhamma, nasb, fatha, jar, kasra. However, when it's other words, like for example, let's say a dual word, muthanna, in the state of raf, it'll be with the alif. State of nasb will be al-ya'u ma qablaha maftuh. So ra'aytu rajulaini. Examples are provided as well. In the state of jar, same thing. So this is the diacritical table. There's more diacritical tables as well. Okay, and even the grammatical moods. Okay, so marfuat, mansubat, majrurat. So we need to wrap up now because inshallah it's getting close to Taraweeh, but we'll just finish this off, just a few minutes. Okay, it's an A5 size book, so it's easy to hold. 287 pages. Book cover is glossy paperback. So if you do get any smudges, you're probably having a cup of tea and just put some cookies in your mouth and then your hands are got a bit of cookies on there and then you touch Qasas Al-Nabiyīn, don't worry about it. You can wipe it off. Okay, paper quality is very good quality. Normally the books you will get is 80 GSM. This is 19 GSM. When you hold this book in your hand, you'll understand what it means by 90 GSM. The quality of the book is very, very good. Okay, and it's easy for students to hold and carry as well. Now, to order your copy, scan the QR code. So those who are watching, okay, you've got a few seconds to scan this code now, and it will bring up the link to order the book. So this is another way you can order the book. Okay, if you just scan the QR code now, I've tried this before as well, so I've been through the PowerPoint. I've scanned it. If you go to your camera, you hold it against this QR code, it'll bring you to the link and you can order your copy. Okay, your copy, if you order it, inshallah, it should reach you between 3 to 5 days, inshallah. And orders are shipped to UK only. If somebody is interested in this book from abroad, then you can email at institute@sidra, institute sidra@gmail.com. So that's institute sidra@gmail.com. Okay, or you can go onto the website www.sidrainstitute.com and go into contact, and from there you can contact the institute and we can discuss shipping it over abroad, etc. And if anybody is interested in ordering bulk as well, you can also email as well at institutesidra@gmail.com. Okay. So lastly, I want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me the ability to serve His religion and to compile, to work on Qasas Al-Nabiyīn. And if it wasn't for my teachers, okay, I would not be here talking to you today, and the effort of my parents. So first and foremost is I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I thank all my teachers, and especially Hazrat Mulna Yusuf Lughat Sahib, who introduced Tarkib and Arab while we were studying in Madinatul Uloom, Kidderminster, and that actually, brought a good understanding of grammar into the lessons. And all our teachers as well, Hazrat Mullah Ahmed Sahib, Mullah Azad Sahib, Mullah Bashir Sahib, there's so many Asatiz, Mullah Adam Sahib, Mullah Muhammad Ali Sahib, so many of our teachers, Mullah Ibrahim Sahib, that have contributed even in Darul Uloom, Bari, okay, Hazrat Mullah Mufti Shabir Sahib, Mullah Abdul Rahim Sahib, we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him a long, healthy life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him the best of both worlds. And also, my thanks and gratitude go to my beloved mother who passed away a few years ago, and that's why the institute is named after her as well. So keep her in your prayers as well, and pray for my father as well. Okay, so I'd like to thank everyone who have contributed. So it's not my efforts, it's the efforts of our teachers. That's what you see in front of you today. And lastly, I'd like to say, رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. O Allah, accept from us. Indeed, you are all listening, hearing, and all knowing. Now, this is the copy. This message will go out, inshallah. Okay, so it just gives a brief overview what the book is about and what it contains, and you can scan the QR code. This will be shared on WhatsApp groups, and you can share it far and wide. And those who are interested, inshallah, they can purchase the book. And finally, the Institute offers different courses. Okay, so you can see on your screen, we've got a complete package of mastering Arab. Okay, so that's 26 hours of content. How to use the Hans Wehr dictionary, that's 7 hours of content. We've started something new, which is the Quranic series, a comprehensive study of the last chapters of the Quran. We want to continue with this, but we started off with Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, so some of this are free on YouTube, you can see. So we delve into the subtleties, the balagha points, the lata'if of the Quran, the tarkib, the i'rab, the lexicon, the word-by-word translation, how are chapters interlinked and connected, what's the rabt between the chapters. This is something new we've introduced. So inshallah, we're going to continue. In the coming months, we'll move on to Surah An-Nas. Arabic rhetoric, this is coming towards its completion. It's and might end up being 80 hours of content. All three disciplines of Arabic rhetoric, Ilmul Bayan, Ilmul Ma'ani, Ilmul Badi, all available. Okay, recorded lessons, PowerPointed exercises, inshallah. This has come to a conclusion, this course is. So if anybody wants to enroll, there are recordings available. You can still enroll. Mastering Tarkib course, this is coming soon, inshallah. Hopefully after Eid, we should introduce this course. Okay, so over 1,000 grammatical constructs will cover complete breakdown of tarkib, how it works. This is mainly examples from the Quran, and also we cover Arabic foundation course, which covers the Medina series book part 1. We cover the translation, vocabulary, and flashcards as well to retain, the vocabulary, and tarkib is explained as well. All this is available with video recordings available. Each student has a portal. You have a dash board with recordings, so anytime you can go into that dashboard, whether it's 1 o'clock in the daytime or 1 o'clock in the night, you can view the recording, and upon your completion you get a certificate. Okay, I think that's a lot said today, and I hope you do benefit from the book, and it's coming close towards Tarawih prayers as well, and keep us remember us in your pious du'as. For now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.